Hello there. Sitting out in my backyard on this beautiful summer day in about 90-degree heat. Love it, lovely. Wanting to share with you a little bit about the difference between becoming a consecrated virgin versus becoming a religious sister. What's the difference? What would I feel with a call towards either? So starting with the similarities of both. If one were to feel called to either consecrated virginity or some form of religious life or consecrated life, a woman would feel called to belong solely to God, to Jesus as a bride, and also to become a spiritual mother somehow. To have more than just her own particular biological family, but really an extensive family that reaches out to many. So those would certainly be things in common. Brides of Christ and spiritual motherhood. Now, the differences. If one were to feel called to consecrated virginity, a lot of times a woman feels a strong call to remain in the world and not of it. She feels very much called to be a bride of Christ, to solely belong to Jesus, and give a public witness of that in the world, wearing normal clothes. She's very peaceful for the life that she's been living in the world already, but there's something inside her that desires to make that permanent, a vowed love life with the Lord, per se. And she can sometimes live alone, and that's mainly how many consecrated virgins live their life. They have their own apartment, condo, house. Sometimes they have other women live with them at times. Other times they're just alone. But they really kind of flourish in that solitude with the Lord. They don't have any fears of just having lots of quiet time with Him, and sometimes they have the Blessed Sacrament in their house if their bishop allows for that. So as for a woman called a religious life, she very much feels called to live out her bridal life with the Lord in community. She feels called to share that with other women like herself, sharing a day in, day out mission, eating many times and praying much of the day with her sisters, but also certainly having her own solitude and her own type of mission work wherever the order might have her at. But there's a call to communal life that's really strong for a woman who's called a religious life. And certainly the ministries that they have a certain charism. So she might find herself very much drawn to the Dominican spirituality or the Mission of Mercy, so a religious order like the Religious Sisters of Alma of Mercy, or whatever it may be. There's a certain charism that she finds in similar with other women, and there's also a special apostolate that they share. So sometimes they're serving the dying, the poor, sometimes they're teaching in schools. There's a variety of things that they do, but sometimes they have a very specific one, and other times they have a variety of things. For a consecrated virgin, whatever God might call her to do as in a career or ministry, she could do. So be a youth minister, she could be a teacher, she could be a doctor, missionary. There's a bunch of different things she could do, certainly within reason of what public way she would be living that. But she would live that, and she would be a witness to being a bride of Christ. So those are just a few similarities and differences of being called to consecrated virginity versus religious life. Just a little food for thought. There are many more, so seek out more. God bless.